to chat about that. I'm Bella,
I'm Malik.
and today we're going to be chatting about our experience at Megacon Orlando. So we just went to Megacon, and it was the first weekend of February, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, the first weekend of February, and yeah, we just want to talk about our experience because we've been to a lot of conventions. I've talked about Awesome Con many times on this podcast, and I've talked about like cosplaying and stuff. So we just wanted to talk about our experience because we went all the way down to Orlando for MegaCon, and we were only there at the con for 2 days, but 2 days was plenty for us.
Long story short, we were down there because we're with one of the many Star Wars clubs. We're at the Mando Mercs, and a handful of our buddies was talking about going down, and kind of came out that they're a bunch of Disney nerds. We're a bunch of Disney nerds, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna go to the con, and then we're gonna go to Universal and Disney, and we're like, convention, Universal, Disney. Like, tell us more, count
Yeah,
us
sign
in."
us up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we ended up going down there. So we flew down. Some of our friends drove down, but we decided to fly down. And Malik is an official member of the Mando Mercs Club. I'm an unofficial member, but he was officially trooping with them, so he'll talk about a little bit about his experience. But yeah, we flew down and then we stayed at the Rosen Inn Lake Buena Vista Hotel, which was very nice. It wasn't like within like the Disney resort or anything, but I think it's like a like approved hotel or whatever with Disney. And it was really close to Disney Springs, very close to the parks. So it was kind of like in between Disney and Universal, and then it was very close to the convention center as well. But yeah, like I said, MegaCon's a huge convention, kind of just like Comic Con and those kinds of things. They have lots of celebrities, there's panels, there's cosplaying. And so this convention got a lot more like big name celebrities and a lot more celebrities than our local convention does. So we live near DC, and you think Washington DC would have like a huge hub for getting like lots of big name celebrities, but they do get big names, but it's not as many as like Comic Con or New York Comic Con or MegaCon. So there were only two. Well, there was one celebrity that I really wanted to meet, and it's Joseph Quinn. And we did mention him in the last episode because he was in Gladiator 2 and he was in Quiet Place Day 1. And so I was like, I gotta meet him. Like, I love him anyway. So we were gonna meet him. And then, so we went Friday and Saturday. And so he was only there on Saturday and Sunday. And so on Friday, we were with we had another one of our friends there, my good friend Megan. So she was like meeting a bunch of people on Friday. We were just walking around like looking at the different celebrities and stuff because most of them are just like signing at tables. Well, they all sign at tables, but some of them are like behind a curtain. Like Joseph was like behind a curtain, and then Jude Law was behind a curtain, and Mel Brooks
Oh, yeah.
was there. He was behind a curtain. So like those kinds of people are gonna like be behind a curtain because they don't want people like crowding around the tables and like taking pictures. You're not allowed. I mean, you can take pictures of them when they're signing, but like you'll get yelled at if you get caught. But anyway, so on Friday, yeah, we were just like wandering around looking at the different like merch booths and stuff, and then we saw that Manny Jacinto was gonna be there, and he was like signing, and his so Manny is he was best known for playing Jason on The Good Place, and that's like one of our favorite shows. We adore that show. And he was also in The Acolyte. And so we saw that his line was super short and he wasn't very expensive. And I was like, let's meet Manny. I like him a lot.
Mhm.
So we met Manny. We got to talk to him for a good amount of time because there weren't many people in his line. And he was the nicest person. Like, he's so nice. I genuinely have never had a negative experience meeting celebrities. There have definitely been celebrities who are a little bit more like talkative and like just kind of interacting with like the fans a little bit more than other celebrities, but I don't think I've ever like had a horrible negative experience like meeting anybody. Like nobody was ever like rude or like didn't seem like they cared or whatever. But he was like super nice. He loved Malik's outfit because Malik was wearing his Mando outfit. And we were just chatting with him and he was super fun. And then Saturday, so I knew that Saturday at this con was gonna be a shit show because Saturdays at any cons are always crazy. And so I've heard specifically that this con is like very crazy. So it was way more packed on Saturday. And so we got there super early. Malik went to the trooping stuff with the Mandos, and then me and Megan just like beelined it for like people we wanted to meet. So I got in line to meet Joseph Quinn. I got in line. I think I got there at like well, I think they let everyone in at like 9:45. So I was like in line at like 10 o'clock. And so if you've never been to a con, normally when you meet people, there's like lines like taped off on the floor that like kind of barricade you and like, okay, you're in this little line, and then as you like go through the line, you like kind of swerve and then you get to like the front. So I was like the last person that was in the taped section. So already I was like, okay, they're gonna probably cut this line off. So I didn't get cut off until after. So he didn't show up until like 11 or something, maybe, which is not really like unheard of, but like your autograph time is at 10 o'clock, and you're not showing up until like 11. And I'm not. This is not like knocking Joseph Quinn, because like this happens at every con with like every celebrity. It's like kind of rare that the people will be there like right when their time is starting. So I don't like really blame any celebrity or Joseph or anything. And when I'm like mentioning things like this, it's not like towards any specific celebrity. I just think like cons in general are kind of like disorganized like that, because it happens every single time. So like I don't think that every celebrity is like late, like chronically late. Like it always happens.
Mhm.
So anyway, so he didn't show up one time, but then his autograph slot time in the morning was from 10 to 12, and then he had a photo op at 12:30, and then he was supposed to come back later, and then he had another photo op at like, I don't know, later in the day. Anyway, so I'm waiting in line. I get like all the way up to the front. There's like three people in front of me, and the guy is like, "We're gonna have to cut everyone off." And it was already past noon. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I just waited his whole time. I see him. He's right behind the curtain. Like, can you just let me in? Anyway, so the guy was very nice, and he did what a lot of cons do is he gave us a sticky note. And he wrote like something on it. He was like, don't lose a sticky note. Like, come back when Joseph comes back at like, I don't whatever time it was that he was going to be back. He's like, come back, come to me, and I'll like put you in the front of the line. So we got pretty when we went back, we got pretty close to the front of the line. Then we were waiting another like hour because I guess something happened and he had to go to lunch. I mean, the man's got to eat food. So then we waited, and then by the time we got in there, I was like, oh my god! And I was like telling Malik and Megan, I was like, do not speak to him because we have a very little amount of time, and I want to talk to him. So we get in there. I just like say hi, whatever. He says hi to us, and then we were literally in and out of there in like 5 seconds. So I really didn't get to talk to him at all. So I was really disappointed. Again, Joseph Quinn is never going to watch this video, but like if you do, I don't blame you. That's not your fault. And he was very nice. He gave me a fist bump. He was super, super nice. I got my picture. But I didn't really get to talk to him, and I didn't get to like tell him like what I wanted to say. So I was like kind of pissed off. Again, I don't blame him. This happens at every con where they like if it's to a point where they have to rush people, you don't get to really talk to them. But I would say that he was the only celebrity I've ever met at a con that I literally didn't get to even talk to him at all. So I was kind of pissed. And yeah, but I got my picture. And I was kind of mad about it, but I did meet him. I did get a fist bump. I did get to say words to him. I just, didn't really get to like, tell him what I wanted to tell him. So I was a little mad about that. But that was the experience. But I will preface, if you do go to cons and things get crazy and like there's so many people in line, don't expect that you're gonna have like a full conversation with like these celebrities. It's unfortunate. And again, yeah, that was the only celebrity I've ever met that I really didn't get to talk to him. So maybe if I ever have a chance to meet him again, like maybe I'll do like a photo op with him or something. Because although I will preface, when you do photo ops, you can't talk to them at all, but you can like say hello, and you can pose with them and stuff. So those are very quick in and outs. But maybe if I have a chance to meet him again, like maybe I'll do a photo op or something. Or if he comes to a convention where I have like VIP passes, because we get VIP passes for AwesomeCon. We just didn't think it was worth it for Megacon this year because we were only going to be there for 2 days. But maybe if he comes to like some other con where I can have VIP, like maybe I'll do that and try to get there like earlier or whatever. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed in that. So that was my experience. Again, I love you, Joseph Quinn. You have so many people that you're trying to meet and sign autographs, and like that's his job to be there, is to sign the autographs. And so if he can just sign them as quickly as possible and give people their money's worth and not be able to talk to them, like I can kind of understand the trade-off there. But yeah, that was my experience. Okay, so now that I just blabbed for way too long, Malik, why don't you talk more about your experience being an exhibitor in a sense you were an exhibitor. Yeah, wanna tell them about your little experience there?
Yeah, so because I was trooping in an official capacity for one day, I was comped to Saturday Pass, which was cool. So we went in a group first thing in the morning. We met with the folks. They got us in with a badge and they showed us to the changing room. Then we made our way to the Star Wars Village. And this is another huge draw of the con for us because it's, I think, the largest in the US, at least, if not the world, just kind of fan made Star Wars Village where it's
Yeah.
all these different, the costume clubs, the official ones, LFL license by Lucasfilm, meet from all over Florida. I guess the heavy lifting, a lot of the big exhibits were done by the Tampa clubs, but I mean, just
Hmm.
goes to show they drove all the way to Orlando to help set this up, and they literally had you
Yeah.
walked in. It had to be a couple square acres.
It was a
Uh,
pretty big section. Not to interrupt you, but the so for reference, like Awesome Con, I would say that the entire con space of Awesome Con was probably as big as Megacon's merch area, like vendor, like just where the vendors were was the size of Awesome Con. So like that's already huge. And then yeah, the Star Wars section itself was massive. I
mhm.
mean, it was like, I mean,
I mean,
bigger
movie
than
set
our like
quality.
how our square footage of our
Oh yeah,
house. Like it was very very large. Anyway, go on.
yeah. Again, like movie set quality pieces. A lot of ones inspired by Batu and the Mando Mercs Club down in Florida that hosted us was the Batu clan because they're so close to Disney and all that. So why not?
Yeah.
But they had a bunch of sets kind of inspired by Batu. They had the DJ robot. They had the cantina set up, the IG-11 heads as the taps for the blue milk.
And Batu is the land in Galaxy's Edge in Disney, at the Disney parks. So
Mm.
yeah, that's what he means by Batu.
Yeah, then they had all sorts of other setups. They had life-size droids of all types. They had a nearly life-size ATST, which was crazy. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like 20 some feet tall,
And like the
flanked by
people like
stormtroopers.
make these or they'll commission them. So it's all like, I think some of this stuff was probably purchase props, but most of these things are like fabricated.
Yeah, so it was just immense. Then, of course, the whole theme of the village was having costume characters walking around. So you had folks, stormtroopers from the 501st, the Mando Mercs, folks, of all stripes, Jedi, Twilight, you name it.
Mhm.
The droids from all the different Rebel Legion, the droid builders. It was
They
really
even
cool.
had then they weren't in like that vendor area, but they were close by. They even had a sabak club.
Mhm.
So sabak is like the in-universe like card game. It's like the card game that Han Solo played to like win the Millennium Falcon from Lando. If you're like a nerd like us, you know that. But yeah, they even had like sabak people. They had droid builders, which are normally at AwesomeCon as well. But yeah, just like the amount of like Star Wars clubs there and organizations was just like massive, like more than I've ever seen before.
Yeah, again, biggest in the U.S. I'm pretty sure, if not biggest in the world. Fan made Star Wars, literally a village, and so it was super cool. I mean, taking like walking around and seeing everything took quite a while, and then of course, everybody in an official capacity. It was very very immersive. They did a really good job of it. Then of course they had kind of staging areas for us. We could go and get
Mhm.
water and such like that. But as far as like trooping in the official capacity, I had a time slot. We showed up with everybody. We were standing around looking cool, but then like Bella said, Saturday ended up being so freaking packed. The only time I
Yeah.
left the Star Wars area, the village, was to walk with them to see Joseph Quinn the second round
Mhm.
very briefly. But the whole time, I mean, we were sardined in there. People were bumping into me, and I was like, it's
Yeah.
only a matter of time before somebody bumps into me hard and breaks something on my kit. So the village actually ended up being like a sanctuary for me because right after that, I was like, hey guys, if you need me, I'll be in the Star Wars zone. Because there, I knew I had at least an arm's length of space around me at any times. And then, of course, they had the official handlers and the kind of photo wranglers, for lack
Yeah.
of better terms, where people would come up to get photos. They would hand it to the person. They were an official or unofficial like part of the club, depending. Clubs depending have different terms for it, but they had the shirt on. They had the
Mhm.
exhibitor badges. They're helping us out, but they would make sure they were great. They would kind of crowd control, stopping people from walking in front of photos, and so that helps us out a lot more. Just having more space and not being sardined in there too, which again I was worried about. So it very very nice kind of Mando Sanctuary. I was very thankful for it.
So quickly, I just want to mention the vendor area at this con because it was massive. Like I said, it was the just the vendor section was the same size as our local con that we go to, which is in DC. And DC's convention center is not small, but yeah, there were all kinds of people. I looked at the merch list before we went to the con. And so I knew that there were going to be certain vendors that I wanted to make sure that I saw. And so one of them was Cordy's Corner. They're known for selling a lot of like lounge fly bags and like, you know, fandom merch and stuff. And so I had a theory that they were going to have the bag, the lounge fly bag that is the chopper droid from Star Wars Rebels. He's like the orange and white droid. They have a lounge fly that's like the chopper lounge fly. So if you know lounge flies or anything, they're all kind of like themed bags from different things. A lot of mostly Disney and stuff. But I had a feeling they were gonna have that bag because that's like a Cordy's Corner exclusive lounge fly. And I was thinking to myself, if they have this lounge fly, I'm gonna buy it because I have a good amount of lounge flies, but I don't have like a massive collection. But there are certain bags that like if I see them and I'm like, oh my god, I need that. So the chopper one, I've always wanted that. We saw it at Awesome Con last year and we didn't buy it, and then I couldn't find it online anywhere. I think Cordy's Corner, it wasn't like being sold for a while. Anyway, I'm going in way too much of a rant of this, but I was really hoping that they would have this bag, and they had it, and I got it. So I bought that on Friday because I was like, there's no way I am like missing out on getting this bag. So if you're gonna go to a con and look up the merch, like vendors and stuff beforehand, because you never know who you're gonna find. And then there was also Wild Bill's Soda, which is it's a company that they're at a lot of cons. They vended a lot of cons, and basically what you do is you pay for like a cup, and then you get like a pass, so you can say like, okay, I want to purchase the cup, and then I want to be able to have refills for 1 day or 2 days or whatever. And then the refills are pretty cheap. So we have one from Awesome Con, and you can bring your mug to like any convention. So I didn't see them listed on the website, but maybe I just missed it. Maybe they were in like a different section of like vendors because they're not really like I mean, they're a vendor,
Maybe a
but they're
food vendor.
yeah, so maybe it was under like food or something. So I didn't see it. So we didn't bring our mug. But the flavors they had there were like weird. They weren't like flavors that at least the one like stand we saw, they might have had multiple stands, but again, the con is ginormous, and so we didn't see. I only saw the one stand, and the one stand had no flavors that I would have drank. So anyway, I don't think
It was like fruit stuff mostly.
yeah, and like I
Not really
can't.
like pop
Yeah, like
flavors.
I can't drink food coloring, so it all was like, you know, wild berry and shit like that.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't even have drank it. Anyway, they were there, and so they're always at Awesome Con. So we bring our mug to Awesome Con. So we paid like $75, I think, for the cup, which is a lot of money. But it came with I think it was $50, and then we paid the 25
It's like a weekend
for the
pass.
weekend pass. Yeah, so the cups range from like 30 to like $60 depending on which one you want. So I think the one we got was 50, which I know is a lot of money, but then you pay the $25, and then you get like unlimited refills, and that like saves us when we go to Awesome Pond because like paying $25 for unlimited soda for 3 days is like a pretty good deal. And sometimes like it's hard to get water there. Like sometimes the water fountains are gross. So yeah, I know staying hydrated with soda is not like necessarily like the greatest idea. But it is nice. So we always go. And then there were a lot of sellers that just had like lounge fly bags and like merch, like typical con stuff. And then they had a huge artist alley section. So the artist alleys are literally just like local, well, not always local, but they're like small business, indie artists that sell all kinds of things. So art prints, keychains, bookmarks, they sell lanyards, they sell comic books, like any like sort of like small business, like local little indie artist kind of thing. Those people are always there. And also shout out to Effin Birds, Aaron Reynolds, Effin Birds. He was there, and I have not seen him since he was at AwesomeCon a couple of years ago. And I have been following Effing Birds for like so long. And when he was at AwesomeCon a few years ago, I met him and talked with him, and so I got to hang out with him for a little bit and meet with him and just chat up him again. And he's like just really cool dude. So shout out to you, Aaron. We love you. And then another really cool thing about MegaCon, which AwesomeCon doesn't do this because we don't have theme parks near us, is that they were doing an exclusive after hours event at Universal Studios, which we have always wanted to do an after hours event. There is this company called Orlando Informer, and they do after hours events at Universal Studios, and they might do them at other places.
Sure.
The only ones that I have looked into were the Universal Studios parties, but they might have them at other places. But yeah, Megacon was doing this. It was $99, obviously, like with fees, it was like more than that. But it was $99 for an after hours party that started from 5. You got in at 5 p.m. and then you could be there until midnight. So that's a good amount of time. And for about $100, yeah, that's you're paying a little bit less than a park ticket. I think the park tickets they're around 100, maybe a little bit more. I don't know.
Yeah,
Last time we
I
went to
can't
Universal
remember.
Studios, we got free tickets because we knew someone who worked there. So I haven't paid for a ticket in a while. But anyway, for $100 for an after hours event, that's not bad. The Orlando Informer events are I think they're longer events too, but and you get a little bit more stuff with Orlando Informer, but they are more expensive than that. But $100 to get in at 5 o'clock, which we did. We got there at 5. So we left the con. This was on Friday. So we left the con at like 3 o'clock. And so then we went back. He showered, we got ready and stuff, and then we drove over to Universal Studios. So we got in at 5 o'clock. So basically, they gave you like a wristband you just had to wear, and then you had to scan like the QR code from the ticket or whatever to get in. But what it included was you got to go in at 5. So from 5 to 7, it was like a mix in with the other people in the park because the park that day closed at 7 o'clock. So you got in early to it's called Islands of Adventure, right? Yeah, Islands of Adventure. So the mix in from 5 to 7 was just Islands of Adventure. So Megan and Malik went over and did the Velocicoaster, but I don't like roller coasters, so I went over and did the Hogwarts Castle, the Forbidden Journey. Is that what it's called? I just call it the Hogwarts Castle ride. I think it's called like
Yeah,
Harry Potter
yeah,
Forbidden Journey or something, but we just call it the Hogwarts ride.
yeah.
So I went and did that. I walked around a little bit, and then we kind of just wandered around and just checked out some shops and stuff. And then by the time the party started, we hopped on the Hogwarts Express, went over to the other park, and we're in the other park for quite a while. But this was super fun. You also got a $25 like basically gift card to Universal Studios, so we just used it on food because we didn't buy any merch or anything, so we just used it for like butterbeer and food and stuff. But it was cool because they're the only people that were in the park from 7 to midnight were people that had these tickets. And it was probably, I mean, maybe around like 100 to 200 people were there, if even, maybe 200.
I think a little more, especially later on. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people went there later and then kind of did the opposite park order that we did.
Yeah, I think a lot of people started in Islands of Adventure and then hopped over to the other park because
Yeah.
but we immediately hopped over to the other park because we figured everyone's gonna already be here because that's how you had to get in through Islands of Adventure. But yeah, maybe there was about 300 people or something. But anyway, for that amount of people at a theme park was nothing. There were so many rides that we just walked onto these rides. Some of them had pre-shows, and I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but some of the pre-shows, the staff was like, "Do you care about the pre-show?" And we're like, "No." And they were like, "Okay, just walk onto the ride." Like
The Mummy,
the mummy.
she let us go through, and she's like, "Do you guys want to go on again?" We're like,
Yes, we want to go on
"Yeah."
again.
There was literally no ride, even after we went through it. There was no line.
Line.
Yeah, like, there was no line. And so she's like, "Oh, yeah, just like go over the staircase," and we just hopped right back on immediately
Yeah.
after. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. The only ride that we waited was Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. But if you've ever been to Universal Studios Orlando, okay, Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure is the shit.
It's
Okay.
awesome.
So we waited the first time we rode it twice. The first time we rode it, we waited maybe 30 minutes, which is nothing for Hagrid's. And then the second time, I think we waited maybe like 15 minutes or so. But still, like that amount of time waiting is nothing compared to when you're actually at the place. And then yeah, all the other rides we just walked straight onto them. There was no one there, like we really didn't have to wait for anything. And so when you think about it, oh well, you're only there from 5 to midnight, that's not a whole lot of time. But when you're there from 7 to midnight and the only people are there are the party goers, the waits are nothing. So I think we ended up riding like 5 rides in an hour, which is literally unheard of for going to a theme park. Like you can't
Mhm.
even do like you maybe can do 2 rides in an hour depending on, but it was crazy. But yeah, what did you think about the party?
It makes me not wanna do the regular park. It spoiled me. I mean, there were
Yeah.
parts, especially whenever the mixin was over and the party attendees were starting to roll in. I mean, there was whole spans of time where we were the only ones walking around, and I'm like, "This is beautiful. Why can't it be like this all the time?"
Yeah, yeah, we went over to this one area to get like food. Cuz so the only bummer with this is that most of the merchandise like shops were closed unless it was attached to a ride, and then some of the Harry Potter stores were open, but the majority of like the merchandise shops were closed. Like they have a Wicked shop. Okay, the Wicked shop was closed. I was so pissed. And then the Wicked shop is in the main part of the park. So when we got in early, we couldn't even go to it because we weren't allowed to hop over. So I didn't get to see the Wicked shop. But I did hear a rumor that they are going to be expanding Epic Universe and adding a Wicked land.
Ooh,
Or they're expanding a different part of the park. Maybe it's not with Epic Universe. It might be at one of the other parks or something. But there's a rumor that
sweet.
that there's going to be a Wicked land, and I'm hoping that wasn't in the one in California. But if it is, I will make a trip out there to see the Wicked land. So yeah, I was a little disappointed, and then all of the food places that were open were literally just like the little quickie stands. Oh no, there were a couple quickie stands open, but most of them were like sit down restaurants.
Yeah.
And so we didn't want to spend an hour, not that maybe not an hour, but we didn't even want to waste time sitting in a restaurant. So we just got, I think we got corn dogs.
Yeah, it was good.
We got corn dogs and butter beer. So that's like all we ate.
Yeah, hit the spot.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. I like corn dogs.
It was awesome, and if you've never been to the theme park at night, it was a really cool opportunity to see that because some of the rides, they light up really cool, they have, like, the landscapes and such they're going through, they'll have lights on the carts of the ride that obviously you can't see during the day because of the sunlight, so it was just a really, really cool experience, and again, I mean, completely spoiled me. It'll be tough if we go back and do a regular Universal ticket.
I do want to do the Orlando Informer at some point.
Yes.
This year we are going back to Disney in October for a full week. Maybe in like a couple of years, or maybe next year. I don't know. We could do Halloween Horror Nights, and then we could maybe do Orlando Informer or something. So, although I don't think they do Orlando Informer at the same time as Halloween Horror
I'm not
Nights.
sure.
I don't think they do. But maybe we'll do Halloween Horror Nights next year because we did that a few years ago and it was super fun.
Mhm.
But yeah, we absolutely adored that. So if we ever do MegaCon again, which we might go next year, it was a lot, but we might go next year. We if you want to go to MegaCon, I highly recommend doing the after hours party. All you need is you have to have a MegaCon ticket because in order to pick up the wristband, you have to go into the con and you have to show that you purchase a ticket to the con and everything.
And they made it very streamlined to pick up the party tickets. I
Yeah, it was
mean,
very easy.
yeah, they're like, "Here you go. Here's all you need. Show this to the people at the park." We're like, "Cool." Then the people at the park, they were like, "Hey, MegaCon people," they had their posters. We're like, "Come this way," and
Yeah.
we showed them our stuff, and then we were in. I mean,
Yeah, it was very easy. I will say the people working at the con were very nice. I don't think we had any negative experiences with any of the people working last year at Awesome Con. We're not going to go into it, but some of the workers at Awesome Con last year were very rude. But no, these workers were super friendly, really nice people, and you also had to like register your badge and you had to scan in and out. So like they really make it hard for you to like share your badge. They were not messing around. They're like, this is your ticket. This is not his ticket. But yeah, overall, I think the MegaCon experience was very positive. I think we maybe will go again next year, just depending on, if we can swing it and everything. But yeah, I highly recommend if you're able to go to MegaCon. It was very fun. Saturday is crazy, so maybe don't go on Saturday.
have a plan.
We had no choice because our club was only vending on Saturday, unfortunately. We could really only go on Saturday. And then I was also disappointed because I forgot to mention this earlier, but the panels for there were a bunch of people from Supernatural there, and I love Supernatural. Their panel was on Sunday, and we weren't going on Sunday. So I was like, it's kind of a bummer. And then Joseph Quinn's panel was also on Sunday, so I didn't get to go to either of them. But maybe somebody will have filmed them and put them on the
I'm
internet
sure. Yeah.
so I can like find them. But yeah, overall, MegaCon, I would give it like 4 out of 5 stars, just because some of it was a little with the autographing and stuff. That's always a shit show at every con, and I have my own ideas in mind of how cons could fix things, but no one cares, and they're never gonna listen to my opinions. So I won't go into that. But yeah, I'll give it like 4 out of 5 stars just because the autographing was a shit show because it always is. But what would you rate it?
I think about the same, just overall, because I mean, great experience for me because I had the sanctuary to hang out in the Star Wars Village. I guess it started down because of the crowding and all that, but it's a busy con. What can you do? Lots of food options. That was a breath of fresh air. And then
Oh, the food. There were
they had
so
a
many food options.
ton of food vendors, and so you were not waiting very long for food.
I got a
Over, oh,
Chick-fil-A sandwich.
yeah, overpriced convention food, but you got it in
Yeah.
like 5 minutes. Thank God. And
Yeah.
then in addition to getting the after hours ticket as a bonus, I mean,
Yeah, definitely 4 out of 5 stars. Would definitely recommend. If you're able to attend MegaCon, definitely do. So that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for part 2, which we'll talk about our Disney trip. So, like always, stay safe, stay classy, and we'll chat again with you soon. Bye-bye.
see you.